So you clicked on this video because you want to continue and learn how to trick safely, or you crash a lot and it hurts really bad. Well, either way, let's start from the ground up. Literally. Hey guys, my name is Zach Ferguson, and this channel is all about helping you guys reach your tricking goals. I may not be the best tricker, but hopefully my experience can help you guys become the best. Welcome to video number 3 of Beginner Week, how to fall, guys. So this is one of the most important basics that a lot of people just skip over when they start tricking. And that is how to fall and roll and bail out of your tricks so that you don't hurt yourself when you inevitably do not land the way you thought you were going to land. The reason that I think that this is one of the most important things that you should learn before you start tricking is because if you can train safely, then you can train a lot more than someone who gets injured. And even if you progress slowly and you can do like 6 corks a day and that's your session, your body will adapt a lot and you won't be overstraining your body. Your body will adapt over time and you will get what your goal is, as opposed to just hucking it and smashing your ankle and then you're out for 3 to 6 months. If you take small steps within that same 3 to 6 months and focus on one trick, there's no way you're not gonna get way better at that trick. But things don't always go as planned. So we wanna make sure that we know how to fall and know when to bail out of a trick. So that way you're not just needlessly scared of landing a trick, but you also won't hold the trick so hard that you're gonna injure yourself. So in this video, we're gonna go over the falling/landing continuum, and then we're gonna go over what rolls I think you should learn, and then what you should do when you can't roll. And I'm gonna give you a little mini tutorial on each of the movements, and then hopefully you will have an understanding of when you should bail, why you should bail, and then you can start tricking really safely. So why do I say the landing or falling continuum, and what is a continuum? Define continuum.
Continuum means a continuous sequence in which adjacent elements are not perceptibly different from each other, although the extremes are quite distinct.
When you're ending a trick, you always do the same motions, and what steps you take depend on how good or bad you are landing that trick. And those components are spotting, reaching, absorbing, and analyzing, followed by nothing, or falling or rolling. Spotting is simply when you see your landing position before you land. So you're looking at the ground, and if you are looking at the ground, then you are telling your feet where to go, because that's just how the human body works. Wherever you're looking, your feet naturally want to go if you are doing some kind of jump or acrobatic motion. So spot your landing so that you can land where you're looking and land safely. Reaching is simply extending your body to where you want to land, because if you land in a tucked position, then you're gonna land really, really hard. So you want to reach your body out and extend to what you are trying to land on. Absorbing is directly after reaching, because if you reach and you fully extend your body, then you are primed to absorb your landing. You don't wanna land tucked, you wanna land straight and then bend to absorb that momentum so that you can land safely. And then analyzing. All this stuff happens in a split second, but you will know, you will have a moment where you are landing and absorbing and you're like, this hurts, or I need to fall down, or you're already falling down towards your back and you're just wondering what's going on. That is your moment of analyzation. So in that moment, you'll know, I landed it, or oh crap, I'm falling. But every time you land a trick, that's what happens. And that's why comboing can be so difficult, because you gotta do all of that and then move on to the next trick and then do it again and then move on to the next trick and then do it again. It's very complicated, and that's why I say tricking is very, very mental, even though it's a physical art. So if you landed the trick, you landed the trick. I'm gonna cover comboing later, so let's move on to if you land the trick unsuccessfully. We're gonna start from the bottom and work our way up. So there are 5 or maybe 6 rolls that I think that you should learn so that you can cover every axis of your body, no matter which way you're gonna be falling. And those are your forward gymnastics roll or somersault, your shoulder roll on both sides, your backward shoulder roll on both sides, your side roll side to side, both from your knees back to your knees, and pencil roll, and the backwards gymnastics roll or somersault backwards where you push off. Somersault is easy as pie because a lot of people do it when they're kids. However, I have had a plethora of students come in where they either forgot how to do it or they don't know how to do it and they are petrified to go over their head. So I'm gonna go over it really quick just in case. So for your forward gymnastics roll, what you wanna do is you wanna squat down into a frog position. You wanna have your hands a little farther out so that there's a lot of pressure on your hands so that you are leaning forward. And then you wanna tuck your chin into your chest as tight as possible. And then from there, all you gotta do is straighten your legs and this will get your hips above your head and you hop a little bit and you're going over your head no matter what. If you keep your chin tucked and you have at least a tiny bit of forward momentum, then you will go over your head. Where you want to contact is your shoulder blades first. So I'd recommend bending your arms a little bit and just thinking about putting your hands on your shoulder blades so that way where your point of contact is on the ground goes to the next point of contact that you're trying to make, and then all you got to do after that is tuck in a ball. I would recommend, if you enjoy having teeth, to tuck wide so that your knees are on either side of your head and you don't knee yourself in the face. That goes for any front flipping motion in my opinion. Tuck wide. You'll go faster and it'll be safer for your face. You can put your hands on the floor to push yourself to standing. You can keep your hands up and just hold the tuck. You can grab your shins or you can under tuck. Doesn't matter how you land it, just tuck until your feet touch the ground and then stand up. I personally tell my students to grab their shins because then from day one, you're practicing your front flip motion unless you like to under tuck. But that's your forward gymnastics roll or somersault. If you have trouble with this, what you want to do is find a hill or a slant block at a gym or like a wedge and roll down it because the momentum is going to help you flip over your head. If for some reason you can't do your somersault, you can always revisit it after you learn your shoulder roll because the shoulder roll is a little easier mentally. However, a lot of people understand how to go forward directly better than they know how to go on a 45-degree axis, so I generally teach the gymnastics roll first. Onto your shoulder roll or parkour roll or martial arts roll. So the main goal of this is to take your head out of the equation. What you want to do is you want to hit your shoulder blade first and then roll from your shoulder to your hip so that way you avoid your spine almost entirely. So there are a ton of different ways to learn this, and I'll probably do a tutorial specifically on this just because there are so many different ways to learn this, but this is the way that I'm going to explain it for this one. Start in a squat exactly like the first gymnastics roll. Some people find that it helps to make a diamond with your hands, so you can do that if you want to. Either way, from this position, what you want to do is decide which shoulder you're going to go over. I like to roll on my right dominantly, so I'm going to teach you that way, but again, you should learn it on both sides. So I'm going to teach you only on the right for time's sake, but just repeat the steps on the other side, mirroring it for the other side. But from the squat position, you're going to look behind you as far as you can. Don't move anything, don't turn your hips, just look behind you as far as you can and look at something. From there, do your forward gymnastics roll while keeping your eyes on this. Just look at it the whole time. If all goes well and you keep your eyes on that thing, then what's gonna happen is you're naturally gonna go over your shoulder. If for some reason you still go over the top and you cannot go sideways, you can revisit the shoulder roll after you learn the side roll. But this should help you go over the side. Now for the landing position. What you wanna do is when you are doing that roll, you wanna tuck your left leg under your right. So you want it to look just like this. What you can do is you can just go landing position to landing position on both sides and practice this drill, and it can teach you how to do the motion at the end. What you can also do is once you get good at that, you can practice going up onto that shin and having the one knee up, so that way you're already used to doing that at the end. But again, don't try to actually hit your shoulder, try to hit your shoulder blade back there, because it's not super healthy to actually hit the ground with your shoulder because it's kind of held on by your collarbone, and your collarbone is not that structurally sound. So the more you hit this on the ground, the worse it is for your collarbone. So you actually want to miss your shoulder and hit on your shoulder blade because that's a lot more structurally sound. And then once you hit your shoulder blade, all you gotta do is tuck your left leg in and keep that right leg out but bent, and you should just naturally roll into that landing position that we just went over. If you got that, you got your shoulder roll. Once you have those 3 rolls, the forward gymnastics roll, the shoulder roll on both sides, then what you want to do is kind of practice diving into it a little bit. So just reach farther and farther forward and see if you can still roll. You don't have to do this step, but it'll help you a lot because when you're landing your tricks, you're going to have a lot of momentum and you'll probably be launched into it. So it's going to be helpful to understand how to reach into your roll and actually do it without hurting yourself. Onto your side rolls. So this is self-explanatory. I don't think you really need a tutorial for a pencil roll, but just in case you need it, lay on your stomach, roll over to your back, roll over to your stomach. You did it. For safety's sake, you might want to practice keeping your hands up by your face like this, so that when you pencil roll in an actual trick, you can kind of like be supported on your forearms and keep your face away from the ground. But you can just roll sideways and you probably got this roll already. The other one that might be helpful is learning to roll from your hands and knees and roll completely sideways and then get back to your hands and knees. But again, this is kind of self-explanatory. Fall like you're a dead roach, try to get back to your knees. On this one, you're gonna need some momentum to actually get back to your knees and your hands, but this helps for things like coin drops. Even though it doesn't look like it'll help you, it can help you with that, and it can help you learn like side flips and different things like that once you alter it, not this specific roll. But practice those two just so that you know you can do it on both sides and that you are comfortable with it, because you're definitely gonna fall like this sometimes. Onto your back shoulder roll. This one's very important for when you're doing backflips. This one is very important because we travel backwards a lot in tricking and we fall backwards sometimes in tricking. So the components of your back roll are that you land and then you sit with your butt first, and then you curl forward with your head and you put your hands to either side and you let your feet go over that shoulder, and then you push up like a push-up and get back to standing. I like to teach this laying down first because it can teach you how to actually do the motion without all the danger, because if you start with momentum, then a lot of times people just slam their head on the ground. So start by laying down, and you want to spot something behind you. If you have a mirror, this can help you a lot because you can see what you're doing and how over the side you are. But essentially you want to lay on your back, and then you want to put your hands up to one shoulder. So you want to lay on your back, and then you want to kind of curl up so that you're in like a kip up starting position. You're just on your shoulder blades and your legs are just sitting in front of your face, like your knees are in front of your face like this. From there, you want to turn and look in a direction. Then put your hands up by your face in that direction. And all you got to do is try to put your feet over where you're looking. I know that sounds simple, but it's kind of hard for some people. You can do this on both sides and train it at the same time, but essentially you can just like turn, look, put your feet over there, get back to neutral position, turn, look, put your feet over there, and then go back to neutral position. But once you're ready, all you have to do is go for that position, put your feet down. You can add a little momentum if you need to, but I can do it standing still. You put your feet down and then you just do a push-up, and you'll get yourself to a push-up position, and then you just stand up from there. That's really, really simple and hard to do for people who are not well conditioned. This is why I say conditioning is really important. Make sure you got good push-ups, bro. Either way, from there, progressively add momentum. So do it from sitting, lay down, look, roll over, then do it from sitting and roll fast like that. Then do it from a squat, make sure you touch your butt, then roll back and push. Then do it from standing. So stand up, squat down, sit, roll, push up, stand up, and then jump, land, and back roll. Do that on both sides and you've got both sides back shoulder roll. Again, this one is super important in my opinion because it protects your head. But sometimes you are going directly backwards and you do not have time to think about, nor do you have the ability to go over the side with your back roll. That's where the backwards gymnastics roll comes in handy. So for the backward gymnastics roll, unless you are hench or you have like a really good handstand push-up, then you can't do this without momentum. So I'd recommend finding a slanted block or a hill or something, like I was saying for the forward gymnastics roll, but this one is a little more necessary. You do not need it, but it will help you immensely. So the components of this are that you do everything the same as the backward shoulder roll. So you're standing or landing, and then you squat, touch your butt, roll backwards, and then from there, you're gonna put your hands like a bridge. So you're placing your palms on the ground, but backwards, and then you push up. As you're piking, you kick backwards and you push with your arms, and you kind of miss your head entirely, hopefully, and then you get back to your feet. Making sure that your chin is tucked forward, not leaning it back like this. If you're learning it on something slanted, lay down on the slant, put your hands like the bridge, put your legs in that pike position, and then push up really hard. Then do that from a sitting position, roll back, do it, and then do it from a standing position, sit, roll, do it. Especially if you're on a hill or a slanted block, make sure that your chin is tucked forward once you add that momentum, because you're gonna slam your head on the ground if you go too fast and you are not in control of it. So make sure that chin is tucked forward so you don't hit your head backwards. If you're doing it on floor, it's just gonna be a little extra hard, but it's gonna be the same exact motion. What I'd recommend is practicing sitting and then pushing backwards with your legs so that you know what direction you're pushing. This is literally how you should jump for this motion if you're doing it just to practice your roll. So you sit down and then you push with your quads, and then you do your roll. That simulates having some kind of slant or something. But on this, just practice going down, back, touching your hands, down, back, touching your hands, and get used to that motion a lot so that you can't really mess it up that bad when you go for this motion. And then just start from a squat. So you squat and then just start falling backwards. And then as soon as your butt touches, tuck up tight, push off, and roll. And you should be able to do it if you have relatively good arm strength or you put a lot of momentum into it. The key is keeping that chin tucked so you protect your head. If you do it correctly, you can keep your hands on your shoulder blades so that you feel the ground with your hands, and the moment you feel the ground with your hands, you just push really aggressively and you won't even touch your head on the ground. But those are all the rolls that I think you need to learn so that you can train tricking very safely. But what do you do when you can't roll? What if you're coming straight down or you're going up really high and you have no momentum and you are falling? Well, that's where break falls come in. If for some reason you cannot get to your feet and you don't have enough momentum to roll, then you want to do one of 3 break falls. You can do a forward break fall, a backward break fall, or a side break fall on either side. I recommend practicing this on something soft just so that you don't hurt yourself. You can practice it on harder stuff, but just make sure you have these like really down packed before you do it on something harder, even like spring floor. I would recommend learning this on a mat probably, just so you don't hurt yourself. There's no like, don't have an ego on this. Like just learn your stuff on softer stuff and then take it to harder stuff if you need to. But it's just because if you do these wrong, you can hurt yourself really bad. But let's go over all 3 really quickly. So for a forward break fall, what you're trying to do is you're trying to protect your head first, and then you're trying to protect your groin area so you don't hurt yourself, and then you're trying to protect your knees. So what you want to do is you want to be in this position that's kind of like a triangle. So put your forearms out in front of you and just do this on the ground first so you can feel the structure, and then stick your butt really high. Maybe do this at home or something so it's not super embarrassing. Just what are you doing at the gym, like sticking your butt high and just like going on your forearms. But I have been saved many times by doing this, so I think you should probably learn it. Either way, that's the structure you want to have. You want to make sure you are on your soft tissue pathways. So you want to be on your forearms right here, and you want to flex your fingers backwards so that way this is what's touching the ground, not your wrist hitting and then, you know, cranking up your wrist and hurting yourself on the ground. You want to actually hit here first because this is all muscle right here, unless you're like super skinny, but it's still better to hit here than hurt your wrist really bad. And then you want to be on the balls of your feet with your feet so that you can bounce and absorb momentum if you need to. Either way, practicing this is really simple. Just get in a squat and jump into the position just a little bit. Then do it from higher and higher and higher. Eventually you should be able to jump up and kind of balance yourself in the air and then land in that position. And if you can do that, you got yourself a forward break fall. The next one is a back break fall. This is something that helps a lot if you are bailing in the middle of a trick. I have a student, Oliver, who recently did this. I talked about this, I believe, in my fear video, but I'm gonna show it again just in case because it's kind of epic. He was going for his backflip and he did a perfect back break fall. Oh, nice. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And that avoided injury for him because he just slapped it out and kind of rolled to his feet, and then he went and did another backflip immediately after that. So this is really good application of this technique. Either way, the structure or the components of this are that you are in a triangle position, so not too close, not too far apart, kind of in a triangle like this, so that you can push backwards and you can kind of create some space using your lats between your spine and the ground. To practice this, all you gotta do is get into that position with your palms facing the floor. From there, you just roll back a little bit like you're about to do a back roll or something, and you just balance there. See if you can push really hard with your arms, and you'll get a really good back and tricep workout doing this. But you wanna create space there if you can, and try to elevate your hips so that your tailbone is away from the ground. And then just progressively move into that. Make sure that your head is tucked forward so you do not hit your head on the floor, and then you're trying to flex your lats really hard. Stick your hands out, and you can start from a squat and kind of back roll into that position and then stop yourself there, and then hop a little bit and get into that position, and then hop a little bit more until you can do it standing up and dropping into it. The key is never, ever, ever to put your hands directly behind you like this, because you can hurt your wrist or your elbow and break those things trying to stop yourself from injuring your head or something. If you have the urge to reach back here like this, then just tuck and roll or put your hands back like this for a back break fall. Please do not break your wrists. Never ever reach back like this. And the last one is a side break fall. So I learned these originally from Aiki Jiu-Jitsu or Aikido, and it's a Japanese martial art where you roll and flip and throw a lot. Traditionally, it's very similar to Jiu-Jitsu or Judo, but there are other side break falls like in Wushu, like Brendan Morrison does. So there's not one way to learn this, but I'm gonna teach you the way that I learned it. So this one's a little tricky, and all of these break falls kind of will be mixed in with each other, or you'll go for a break fall and then end up just rolling. It's okay, all of this is just to save you. But to break down the side break fall, the position is like this. So you are laying on your side, your arm is out to the side. Again, for me, I like to do it triangularly, but you can put it way out to the side if you want to. I just feel like that's a little harder on your shoulder, so I like to keep it a little closer. Then you're going to straighten the leg of the side that's closest to the ground or the side that you're doing. So for example, if I'm going to my right side, then I want to keep my right foot as straight as possible and elevated off the ground using my adductor or groin muscles. I'm pulling upwards slightly. And then I want to bend my left leg so that the balls of my feet on my left foot are the ones hitting the ground. So the points of contact are your straightened arm and then the whole kind of right side of your body, but then from your hip down to your foot should be elevated so you don't bang your knee and ankle on the ground. And then your other leg is tapping the ground at the same time. So what you can do is you can just roll side to side, slapping and practicing this, because it can kind of be tricky to get like which foot hits the ground first. And if you do it wrong, it just hurts a lot because you just slam into the ground with your knee. So practice this motion over and over again. And then it's similar to the other ones. You just kind of start from a squat and hop into it over and over until you can do it a little bit higher, and you got yourself a side break fall. All of these things are designed to protect your head. Your head is the most important thing because that's what operates our body. After protecting your head, you want to protect your spine. After protecting your spine, you want to protect your joints like your knees and your elbows. And then after that, you want to protect like vital organs like your heart and your throat and soft, squishy body parts. But for the most part, if it's squishy, it's a lot safer when there's momentum and impact involved rather than a joint, because a joint or a bone will break, whereas a soft tissue pathway will not. So when should I fight to land the trick and when should I bail? The difference is really important. So if you feel any kind of pain when landing your trick, bail. It is not worth it. When you land a trick properly, you should just be able to go bink and just kind of land on the ground. Sometimes you'll land a little hard and you'll have to stumble out of it, but that's different than feeling pain. For example, on this full D-leg twist, I land pretty perfectly. I'm just like, well, okay, that felt good, nice. And then on this full D-leg twist, which happened before it, my knees and ankles hurt a lot when I was landing, so I just bailed. I could feel that if I fought to land that, I probably would have injured myself. It's a split-second decision, but I always err on the side of caution because I can just get up and try again. I learned this lesson hard one time when I was training at an open gym, and I was doing like side swipe to front or side swipe to Arabian, and I had good cart fronts, but I had never tried this transition, and basically the added amount of twist I wasn't ready for, so I landed, and then I fought really hard resisting the twist to land it because I just wanted to land it so hard, and then I felt something tweak in my lower back, and I could not stand up. Legitimately, I thought I paralyzed myself. I was like, oh great, awesome. And so I was laying on the gym floor and I had all these like kids around me. I had like a little girl literally holding my phone to record me because I asked her to, and I couldn't get up. The pain was terrible and I probably like slightly slipped a disc or something, but I never went to the doctor because I was poor and America. But either way, my feeling and my ability to walk came back about 2 minutes later, so I just kind of like laid on the ground and like talked to them and was just pretending that I was just like tired, and then I got up and I played it off, and then I went home and I vowed to never do that again. So now I don't fight that hard to land tricks, I just chill out, and if I know I'm gonna hurt myself landing it as I feel it, I just bail and roll. What's important is not bailing before you even land the trick. You should fight as hard as you can to land your trick before you actually land it. I see a lot of people give up halfway in their tricks, and that honestly leads to injury a lot. So if you're going halfway and then you just open up, you're just gonna slam on the ground. Like you're not gonna be able to do the movement ever, and you're just teaching yourself bad form. So always fight to get your feet to the ground, but once your feet hit the ground, analyze in that split second whether you should fight to keep your feet on the ground and try to land, or just roll and do it again. That distinction is really important to know. So I really hope this helped you to feel safe learning tricking, and I hope it gave you a better perspective on when to bail and when not to bail. If you like this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below and let me know if you think this will help you or if you have experienced this yourself. And please subscribe to my channel so that you can see the next video, which I'm gonna go over what tricks I think you should learn in order, in my opinion. But if you subscribe, it'll help me a lot on my quest to 1,000 subs. Either way, please stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys next time.